Success is something that many people strive for, but it often seems elusive. We look at successful individuals, those who seem to effortlessly achieve their goals, and wonder what they have that we don't. Is it their talent, their connections, or simply their luck? While these factors may play a role, the true secret to success is not talent or luck, it is habits. Habits are the invisible forces that shape our lives. Whether we realize it or not, our daily routines, decisions, and actions have a significant impact on the direction our lives take. Habits are the small choices we make each day, and when compounded over time, they create the results we see in our lives, both positive and negative. You may have heard the saying, "Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out." The habits we cultivate determine the life we build. The good news is that, unlike talent, habits are something we can control. The ability to create positive habits and eliminate negative ones is within your power. The truth is, success is more about what you do consistently rather than relying on inborn talent. Think about some of the most successful people in the world, whether in business, sports, or personal development. What sets them apart is not always their natural talent or their ability to win by chance, but their unwavering commitment to the habits that drive their success. They've built powerful daily routines and practices that align with their goals and values, and through this consistent effort, they've been able to achieve extraordinary things. You don't have to be born with a gift to succeed. What you do every single day matters more than any inherent ability. Whether you are trying to improve your career, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, your success depends on the small, consistent habits you nurture and grow. In this audiobook, we will dive deep into why habits are more important than talent when it comes to achieving lasting success. We'll explore how habits shape every aspect of our lives and why the power of daily consistency can be the most transformative tool in reaching our goals. Most importantly, we'll give you the tools to build the right habits and eliminate the ones that hold you back, empowering you to take control of your journey and unlock your potential for success. Chapter 1: Talent versus Habits, the real difference. When we think about success, it's easy to assume that those who achieve great things are simply naturally gifted. We look at athletes, musicians, or business leaders, and often marvel at their innate abilities. It's easy to think, they must have been born with that talent. We may even feel discouraged or inferior, believing that talent is the key to success, and that if we're not born with it, we're somehow at a disadvantage. But the truth is, talent is often overrated, and it is habits, the consistent, everyday actions we take, that have a far greater impact on our success. Talent, while helpful, is not a guarantee of success. In fact, talent alone is often not enough to achieve lasting success. What truly sets high achievers apart from others is their ability to cultivate and maintain powerful, productive habits that drive them forward. This chapter will explore the key differences between talent and habits, and why habits are ultimately more important for achieving success. We will examine how talent can give you a head start, but it's the habits that determine whether or not you reach the finish line. By understanding the true power of habits, you'll be empowered to shift your focus from seeking out shortcuts or relying on raw ability to developing the discipline that leads to long-term achievement. The myth of innate talent. The idea that success is reserved for the gifted few is a pervasive myth. From a young age, many of us are taught to believe that talent is the primary factor that determines whether we succeed or fail. We hear stories about athletes who have been exceptional since childhood, or prodigies who can play a complex musical piece after just a few lessons. These stories, while inspiring, can also create a sense of inferiority in those who don't seem to have the same natural abilities. But here's the thing. Talent alone does not guarantee success. Talent may provide a head start, but it is consistency, discipline, and effort that turn talent into real achievement. Consider this. How many times have you heard of naturally talented individuals who didn't make it simply because they didn't work hard enough, didn't develop strong habits, or didn't push through obstacles? Think about Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. While his natural athletic ability certainly played a role in his success, Jordan is also known for his unbelievable work ethic and relentless practice habits. In fact, he was cut from his high school basketball team, not because of a lack of talent, but because his coach thought he needed to work harder. Jordan's consistency and dedication to improving his skills day in and day out ultimately turned him into the legend he is today. This example shows us that talent doesn't always guarantee success. What matters is what you do with that talent, and whether you can cultivate the habits of consistent practice that allow you to reach your full potential. Habits. The true drivers of success. Success is not about talent alone, it's about what you do every day. Habits are the small, consistent actions we take, often without even thinking about them. These actions compound over time, creating lasting change and progress. The difference between success and failure often comes down to the habits you practice. Consider a person trying to lose weight. They might have the genetics for an ideal body type or an athletic frame, but without the consistent habits of healthy eating and exercise, their potential will go untapped. In contrast, someone without the ideal body type can still achieve their fitness goals if they commit to the daily habits that promote health and well-being. Success in this case isn't determined by talent, it's determined by consistent effort. Similarly, in business, entrepreneurs with powerful habits of planning, persistence, and adaptability often outshine those who might have greater initial business instincts or connections. Talent may help a person get their foot in the door, but it's the daily habits, like keeping track of finances, staying organized, learning from mistakes, and building relationships that keep a business running and allow it to grow. Even in personal growth, consistent habits are the key. Building habits like self-reflection, learning, and mindfulness can transform your mindset and ultimately your life. The power of habits is in their ability to create incremental improvement, and it's through small steps taken consistently that we can achieve our greatest aspirations. Why habits are more important than talent. While talent can give someone an early advantage, habits are what ultimately determine whether a person will succeed over the long term. Talent might allow you to perform a task well initially, but only through sustained, disciplined action can you build mastery and achieve lasting success. Talent may create opportunities, but habits create results. When we rely on our natural abilities alone, we often find ourselves lacking the drive or mental fortitude to push through the inevitable challenges that arise on the path to success. But when we focus on developing the right habits, we are training ourselves to stay committed, even when the results aren't immediate. Habits may not seem glamorous at first. They don't promise quick results, and the rewards may not be visible right away. But they're incredibly powerful because they compound over time. When we focus on improving just a little bit every day, whether it's in our work, health, or relationships, the cumulative impact of these habits can be life-changing. Think of a writer who commits to writing 500 words a day. It might seem like a small effort, but over time, those small efforts add up. In a year, that writer will have written about 180,000 words, which is enough for a novel. The writer may not have started with exceptional talent, but their commitment to the daily habit of writing transformed them into a successful author. In this case, success wasn't about having natural talent, it was about showing up consistently and putting in the effort each day. The power of consistency. One of the most powerful aspects of habits is their ability to create consistency. Consistency is what builds momentum. And momentum is what leads to lasting success. Talent may help you get started, but it's consistency that keeps you going, even when motivation fades or obstacles arise. Take the example of a writer. A writer who sits down to write for just 30 minutes every day, regardless of how they feel, will accumulate more work over the course of a year than a writer who waits for inspiration to strike. It's not the bursts of creative brilliance that produce results. It's the daily habit of writing, even when it feels difficult or unproductive, that leads to success over time. When you build consistency into your habits, you build a foundation of discipline that supports you, even when circumstances are less than ideal. Talent alone can only take you so far, but a consistent effort over time will lead to greater mastery and success than talent ever could. How to develop productive habits. So, how can we develop habits that will drive success? The first step is to identify the habits that will take you closer to your goals. Whether it's setting aside time each day to work on a passion project, exercising regularly, or committing to learning something new, the key is to start small and build from there. Start by setting small, achievable goals. If you want to build a habit of reading, for example, don't start by trying to read an entire book in one sitting. Begin with just 10 minutes a day. Once that becomes a habit, you can gradually increase the time. The goal is not perfection but progress, and it's through small, consistent efforts that you can begin to build the habits that will lead to success. Remember, habits are not formed overnight. They take time. It's the consistent, daily practice that leads to long-term results. When you embrace the power of habits, you unlock your potential to create the life you desire, no matter where you start. The role of environment in shaping habits. Another important factor to consider when developing habits is your environment. Our surroundings have a significant impact on our behavior. If you want to develop good habits, you need to create an environment that supports those habits. For example, if you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and avoid keeping junk food in the house. If you want to exercise more, put your workout clothes where you can see them as a reminder. By changing your environment to support your goals, you can make it easier to build and maintain good habits. The bottom line, success is about habits, not talent. In the end, talent may give you a head start, but it's the habits you form that determine your level of success. While talent is important, it's consistency, discipline, and effort, things that can be learned and cultivated through habits that lead to extraordinary achievements. The power of habits lies in their ability to compound over time, creating the momentum needed to succeed, even when challenges arise. Remember, success doesn't come from waiting for talent to show up or waiting for inspiration. It comes from developing and sticking to the habits that align with your goals. It's the small, consistent actions you take every day that will carry you to where you want to go. Talent is overrated, but habits are everything. Chapter 2. How habits shape our life and success. Success is not an event, it's a process. It doesn't arrive in a single moment of brilliance or a dramatic breakthrough. Instead, it's built gradually through consistent effort and focused action over time. And what drives that consistent effort? Habits. The small, everyday actions you take, whether you're conscious of them or not, ultimately determine the course of your life. Habits, more than anything else, shape our experiences, outcomes, and sense of fulfillment. This chapter will explore the powerful role that habits play in shaping not only our life's trajectory but also our success. We'll dive into how habits influence our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions, and how we can harness their power to create the life we desire. The beauty of habits is that they are within our control, unlike talent, which is largely inborn. Habits are something that can be shaped, refined, and cultivated with intentional effort. The invisible power of habits. You might think that success comes from big decisions or momentous actions. While significant events and major decisions certainly play a role, it is the smaller, repeated actions that we engage in every day that define our success. For example, consider a person striving to get in shape. They might work out intensely once or twice a week, but it's the daily habits that truly make the difference. Getting enough sleep, eating balanced meals, and moving their body regularly. These smaller, seemingly insignificant actions, performed consistently, are the foundation of long-term health and fitness. In the same way, in business, it's not a single pitch or business deal that leads to lasting success. It's the habits of hard work, networking, learning, and adaptation that compound over time to create real achievement. Whether it's your career, your health, or your personal relationships, habits shape the outcomes you achieve. The power of habits lies in their ability to compound over time. Small actions performed consistently build momentum, and over time lead to significant change. Whether these habits are positive or negative, they'll compound and shape the path you're on. This is why building good habits is so essential, because the actions you take every day ultimately shape your destiny. The science of habit formation. To understand how habits shape our lives, let's take a look at the science behind habit formation. Every habit follows a cycle known as the habit loop. The concept of the habit loop was popularized by Charles Duhigg in his book, The Power of Habit. The loop consists of 3 parts. Cue, or trigger. The cue is the signal that initiates the habit loop. It's something in your environment or in your thoughts that triggers a certain behavior. This could be anything from seeing your running shoes to feeling stressed or bored. Routine, or behavior. This is the habit itself, the action you take in response to the cue. It can be something as simple as brushing your teeth, exercising, or eating a healthy meal. Reward. This is the positive reinforcement you get from performing the behavior. It could be the satisfaction you get from finishing a workout, the relief of stress from indulging in a snack, or the rush of dopamine from scrolling through social media. The reward reinforces the habit and makes you more likely to repeat it. Over time, the more you repeat this habit loop, the stronger the connection becomes in your brain. The behavior becomes ingrained, and your brain starts to perform the action automatically. This is why habits become so powerful they start to happen without conscious thought. They become part of your daily routine, shaping your behavior in ways you may not even realize. Habits shape our identity. Our habits are not just things we do, they are reflections of who we are. The actions you take daily reinforce the person you believe yourself to be. If you identify as someone who is fit, you're more likely to engage in habits that align with that identity, like exercising and eating healthy. Conversely, if you identify as someone who struggles with their health or fitness, your habits will likely reflect that belief, and you might engage in behaviors that contradict your health goals. In this way, habits are a form of self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you act in a certain way, the more you believe that is who you are. This is a powerful concept because it means that by changing your habits, you can change your identity. If you want to become someone who is successful, disciplined, or healthy, start by focusing on building the habits that align with that identity. For example, consider someone who wants to be a successful writer. Instead of thinking, "I'll write when I feel inspired," they could build a daily habit of writing for just 15 to 20 minutes each day. Over time, this action becomes a part of their identity. They start to see themselves as someone who writes consistently, and as a result, they continue writing every day. It's the small habit of daily writing that builds the identity of a writer. The same goes for any other goal. Whether it's becoming more disciplined, productive, or healthy, your habits will shape your identity and your success. The compound effect of small habits. One of the most remarkable things about habits is their ability to compound over time. The power of small actions, repeated consistently, can lead to significant long-term changes. This is the concept of the compound effect. For example, if you exercise for just 20 minutes every day, you might not notice a huge difference in the first week or even the first month. However, if you continue this habit for 1 year, you'll have accumulated over 7,000 minutes of exercise, which will have a significant impact on your fitness and overall health. In the same way, if you read just 10 pages of a book every day, you will have read approximately 3,650 pages in a year, enough to finish 15 or more books. These small actions, when done consistently, accumulate and lead to big results over time. The compound effect works not only with positive habits but also with negative ones. If you consistently engage in unproductive behaviors like procrastination, overeating, or mindlessly scrolling through social media, the results of these habits will compound as well, leading to undesirable outcomes in your life. This is why it's so important to be aware of the habits you cultivate, as they will shape your future, whether positively or negatively. Building the right habits for success. Building the right habits requires intentional effort. The habits you develop today will create the life you live tomorrow. So, how can you ensure that you're building habits that lead to success? Start small. Trying to change everything at once can be overwhelming and unsustainable. Start with one small habit that you can incorporate into your daily routine. For example, if your goal is to get healthier, start by drinking an extra glass of water each day, or take a short walk after dinner. Focus on consistency, not perfection. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but consistency is key. Focus on doing the habit every day, even if it's just a little bit. Small, consistent efforts over time will lead to bigger results. Leverage the power of triggers. Link your new habit to an existing habit or a specific cue in your environment. For example, if you want to start reading more, make it a habit to read a chapter every morning after your cup of coffee. By associating your new habit with something you already do, it becomes easier to integrate into your routine. Track your progress. Monitoring your progress helps you stay motivated and see how far you've come. Whether it's marking off days on a habit tracker or keeping a journal, tracking provides visual reinforcement and accountability. Reward yourself. Don't forget to reward yourself when you stick to your habits. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and use them as motivation to keep going. Positive reinforcement makes the habit more enjoyable and strengthens the habit loop. Be patient and forgive yourself. Habits take time to form, and there will inevitably be setbacks along the way. The key is not to get discouraged by failures, but to use them as learning opportunities. If you miss a day or fall off track, don't beat yourself up. Instead, reflect on what went wrong and how you can adjust your approach moving forward. Replace bad habits. Instead of just trying to eliminate bad habits, focus on replacing them with positive alternatives. For example, if you tend to procrastinate, replace that habit with focused work sessions or taking breaks to recharge. If you often reach for unhealthy snacks when stressed, replace that habit with drinking water, going for a short walk, or practicing mindfulness. Overcoming common obstacles in habit building. As with any endeavor, building habits can come with challenges. You may encounter obstacles along the way that threaten to derail your progress. It's important to be aware of these potential challenges and have strategies in place to overcome them. Lack of motivation. Motivation tends to fluctuate, so relying on it alone will not ensure success. To overcome this, create systems that don't require motivation, just action. For example, laying out your workout clothes the night before ensures you don't have to rely on motivation in the morning. Setbacks. Everyone encounters setbacks, missed workouts, unhealthy meals, or procrastination. Rather than seeing setbacks as failures, use them as learning experiences. Adjust your plan and move forward with renewed commitment. Perfectionism. Many people quit their habits because they believe they have to do everything perfectly. The key is progress, not perfection. Don't let a small mistake derail you. Keep going and focus on the bigger picture. Time constraints. If you're struggling to find time for your habits, schedule them into your day. Treat your habits like appointments. Set aside dedicated time for them, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. Conclusion: habits are the key to unlocking success. The right habits are the foundation of success. By starting small, staying consistent, and focusing on progress, you can build habits that will propel you toward your long-term goals. Habits don't require talent, they require discipline, patience, and consistency. By understanding the power of habits and taking intentional action, you can transform your life. Remember, success is not the result of one big achievement, it's the cumulative effect of small, consistent efforts over time. Whether your goal is to improve your health, grow your career, or become a better person, building the right habits will set you on the path to success. The habits you develop today will shape the success you experience tomorrow. Chapter 3: Why Consistency Beats Talent Every Time. When we think about success, it's easy to admire those who seem to effortlessly achieve their goals. We look at people who are naturally good at something, be it sports, music, business, or any other field, and think, if only I had their talent, I could achieve that too. Talent is often celebrated, and we sometimes convince ourselves that without it, we'll never reach the level of success we desire. We might even believe that talent is the most important factor that determines whether someone succeeds or fails. But here's the truth: consistency beats talent every time. While talent can give someone a head start, it's consistent effort, day in, day out, that leads to the kind of success that lasts. Consistency is the key to mastery, growth, and ultimately, long-term achievement. This chapter will explore why consistency is more important than talent, how it builds momentum, and how you can leverage consistent effort to reach your goals, no matter where you start. The illusion of talent. We live in a world where talent is often glorified. We hear stories about child prodigies, athletes who make the big leagues with seemingly little effort, or entrepreneurs who make millions from a single idea. These stories inspire us, but they can also mislead us into thinking that talent is the secret sauce to success. What we often fail to realize is that talent alone is not enough. Talent is like a spark, something that can get you started, but it's the fuel of consistent action that keeps the fire going. Talent might allow someone to reach a certain level quickly, but it's consistency that sustains them. In fact, talented individuals who don't consistently put in the work often plateau or fall behind those who don't have natural ability but are willing to work hard, day after day. Take the Beatles, for example. While they certainly had natural musical ability, their success wasn't just due to talent. They practiced relentlessly, played countless gigs, and worked hard to perfect their craft. Their consistency, not their talent alone, is what made them one of the most influential bands in history. The lesson here is clear. Natural talent can only take you so far. The rest is up to consistent effort and dedication. Consistency, the true driver of success. So, what is consistency, and why does it beat talent every time? Consistency is about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's the small, disciplined actions you take every day that add up over time. Consistency is more than just repetition. It's about persistence, focus, and the commitment to improvement, even when the immediate rewards aren't visible. Success doesn't come from a single burst of effort. It comes from building momentum through consistent action. One of the best examples of the power of consistency is found in the story of Thomas Edison. Edison is often quoted as saying, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." Edison didn't invent the light bulb in a moment of brilliance. He succeeded through years of experimentation and consistent trial and error. In fact, it took him over 1,000 attempts before he finally found the right filament for the light bulb. Edison didn't rely on talent. He relied on his ability to keep going even when he encountered failure after failure. This is the power of consistency. It allows you to keep going when things get tough, to improve over time, and to learn from your mistakes. It's the small actions done consistently that make all the difference. Talent alone may give you a head start, but it's your daily habits and discipline that carry you through the finish line. Consistency builds momentum. When we commit to something and do it consistently, we create momentum. Momentum is the force that propels us forward, even when we're feeling discouraged or tired. It's like the snowball effect. The more we push forward, the easier it gets. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Rowling faced rejection after rejection before her first book was finally published. What allowed her to push through these setbacks wasn't her talent alone, but her consistency in continuing to write, revise, and submit her work, despite the odds. Rowling's success didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of persistent effort, even when her first book was rejected by 12 different publishers. Her story teaches us that consistency is what drives success. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or hoping for a burst of inspiration. It's about making steady progress, even when things aren't perfect, and continuing to show up day after day. Over time, this momentum builds, and the results become inevitable. The power of small, consistent efforts. Often, the difference between success and failure is the willingness to do the small things consistently, even when they seem insignificant. It's the habit of working a little bit every day, rather than putting everything off until you feel motivated. Motivation is fleeting, but consistency is something you can rely on. It's about creating a system where you don't have to rely on motivation or inspiration. You just show up and do the work. For example, let's say you want to write a book. You may not have the talent or the natural ability of a professional author, but if you commit to writing 500 words every day, you'll end up with a 50,000-word manuscript in just 3 months. If you focus on daily, consistent action, you will achieve your goal, even without extraordinary talent. It's not about writing perfectly each time. It's about showing up and doing the work consistently. This principle applies to any area of life, whether it's learning a new language, building a business, or getting fit. Success is not the result of one big, flashy moment. It's the result of small, consistent actions that compound over time. When you commit to the process, even when results are not immediate, you create a momentum that eventually leads to success. Why consistency matters more than talent in the long run. Success is often measured over the long term, and this is where consistency outshines talent. The reason consistency is more important than talent is that talent can fade, but good habits and routines build over time. You don't need to be the most talented person in the room to succeed, but you do need to be the one who is willing to put in the consistent work required to improve and move forward. When we rely on talent alone, we risk becoming complacent. We might think, "I'm good enough to get by," and as a result, we don't push ourselves to improve or take consistent action. Over time, this complacency can lead to stagnation. But when we rely on consistency, we are committed to improving every day. Even when we don't see results right away, we trust the process and keep showing up. This steady progress leads to incremental growth, and over time, those small improvements compound into substantial achievements. The role of discipline in consistency. Discipline is what keeps us consistent, even when motivation fades. While motivation is fleeting, discipline is what gets us out of bed early, gets us to the gym, and keeps us focused on our goals, even when we don't feel like it. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Building discipline involves setting up routines and systems that support your goals. If you want to be consistent in your work, set aside a specific time each day to focus on it. If you want to be fit, schedule regular workouts, regardless of how you feel. By creating routines that don't rely on your moods or motivation, you ensure that you are consistently making progress, day after day, turning consistency into success. The beauty of consistency is that it creates its own momentum. At first, it may feel difficult to maintain. The results might seem small or even insignificant. But as you continue, you begin to see patterns of growth. Your skills improve, your knowledge deepens, and your success becomes more certain. Remember, success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or relying on bursts of talent or inspiration. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that your consistent efforts will eventually pay off. Whether you're working toward a career goal, building a business, or improving your health, consistency is the factor that will help you stay on track and eventually achieve what you set out to do. Conclusion: consistency as the key to unstoppable success. While talent can open doors and provide a head start, it's consistency that ensures lasting success. Success is built on small, steady actions performed consistently over time. It's about sticking to the process, even when results are slow to appear, and trusting that the compounded effects of your efforts will eventually lead to great things. No matter where you start, no matter what your natural abilities are, consistency is within your control. It's the one factor that anyone can develop, and it's the secret to achieving success. Talent may give you an edge, but it's the daily habits and consistent actions that will ultimately carry you across the finish line. Chapter 4. How to build the right habits for success. Success doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of consistent, intentional actions taken every day. While many people believe that talent or luck is the key to success, the truth is that success is often driven by habits. The small, everyday actions we take that, when done consistently, lead to extraordinary results. But how do you build the right habits for success? How can you ensure that the habits you form will propel you toward your goals rather than holding you back? Building the right habits is the secret to creating lasting success in any area of life, be it health, career, relationships, or personal growth. But just like any skill, habit formation requires intentional effort, patience, and a structured approach. In this chapter, we'll explore how you can intentionally create habits that align with your goals, why some habits stick while others fail, and the practical steps you can take to build habits that will lead to sustained success. The foundation of habit formation: understanding the habit loop. To understand how to build the right habits, we first need to understand how habits are formed. Habits don't appear overnight. They are the result of a process that involves cue, routine, and reward. This cycle is known as the habit loop, a concept popularized by Charles Duhigg in his book, The Power of Habit. Cue, or trigger. This is the signal that prompts you to engage in a certain behavior. Cues can be external, like seeing your gym shoes, or internal, like feeling stressed or bored. The cue is the trigger that starts the habit loop. Routine, or behavior. This is the habit itself, the action you take in response to the cue. It can be something as simple as brushing your teeth, exercising, or eating a healthy meal. Reward. This is the positive reinforcement that follows the routine. The reward can be a physical or emotional feeling that reinforces the behavior, making it more likely that you'll engage in the habit again. The key to building the right habits is to understand how this cycle works and use it to your advantage. By consciously designing habits around cues and rewards that align with your goals, you can build the right habits that lead to success over time. Why some habits stick and others don't. Not all habits are created equal, and not all habits will stick. Many people start strong, eager to change their routines, but over time, they find themselves slipping back into old behaviors. Why does this happen? The answer lies in several factors, including motivation, environment, and emotional connection. Motivation. While motivation can help you get started, it's consistency that ensures long-term success. Motivation can be fleeting. It's easy to feel inspired when you start a new habit, but motivation alone won't carry you through the tough days when your resolve weakens. To make a habit stick, you need to design habits that don't rely on motivation, but rather on automated actions that are easy to implement without much thought. Environment. Our surroundings have a powerful influence on our habits. Environment design is a concept that emphasizes shaping your surroundings to support the habits you want to build. For example, if you want to eat healthier, keeping junk food out of the house makes it easier to stick to your goal. If you want to exercise more, placing your workout clothes where you can see them every day reminds you to stay active. A supportive environment makes it easier to stay consistent and reinforces the habit loop. Emotional connection. For a habit to truly stick, it needs to have an emotional payoff. The reward that follows the behavior should feel meaningful to you, whether that's the sense of accomplishment after a workout or the feeling of relaxation after completing a task. The stronger the emotional reward, the more likely it is that the habit will become ingrained in your daily routine. Steps to building the right habits. Now that we understand how habits are formed and why some habits stick while others don't, let's dive into the steps you can take to build habits that will set you up for success. These steps will help you not only form new habits, but also sustain them over time. Start small and focus on one habit at a time. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to form new habits is trying to change too much at once. If you're eager to improve your life, you might want to focus on multiple habits: getting up earlier, eating healthier, exercising more, reading every day, etc. However, research shows that trying to change multiple behaviors at once can overwhelm your brain and make it harder to stay consistent. Instead, start with one habit that aligns with your most important goal. Make it simple and focus on doing it consistently every day. For example, if your goal is to get healthier, start with a 10-minute workout every morning. Once that becomes automatic, you can gradually build on it and add new habits. Small changes lead to big results over time. Make it easy to do. The key to building a habit is making it as easy as possible to do. If you make the process difficult or require too much mental energy, it's likely that you won't stick with it. For instance, if your goal is to work out every day, set out your workout clothes the night before. This small act reduces friction and makes it easier to get started in the morning. Similarly, if you want to read more, keep a book by your bedside or in your bag so that you're always ready to read a few pages during downtime. The easier you make the habit to engage in, the more likely you are to stick with it. Set clear, achievable goals. Having a clear goal gives you something to work toward and keeps you motivated. However, it's important to break your big goals down into smaller, actionable steps. Instead of just saying, "I want to be healthier," set a specific goal like, "I will exercise for 30 minutes every morning for the next 30 days." This is a goal that's both measurable and achievable. As you progress, celebrate each small victory. These small wins will keep you motivated and reinforce the habit loop. By setting clear, achievable goals, you create a path to success that's easy to follow and measure. Track your progress and stay accountable. Tracking your progress is one of the best ways to stay motivated and ensure that you're staying on track. Keeping a habit tracker, where you mark off each day you complete your habit, is a great way to visually see your consistency. This simple act of marking progress can be incredibly rewarding and reinforces the habit. Another great way to stay accountable is to share your goals with someone else. Whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague. Telling someone about your habit gives you external accountability, which can significantly increase your chances of success. People who are held accountable to others are more likely to stick with their habits than those who are trying to go it alone. Be patient and forgive yourself. Building new habits takes time, and there will inevitably be setbacks along the way. The key is not to get discouraged by failures, but to use them as learning opportunities. If you miss a day or fall off track, don't beat yourself up. Instead, reflect on what went wrong and how you can adjust your approach moving forward. Remember, habits take time to form on average. It takes 66 days to form a new habit, though it can vary depending on the complexity of the behavior. Stay patient and keep focusing on consistency. Over time, your habit will become automatic, and you'll see the results of your efforts. Replace bad habits. Instead of just trying to eliminate bad habits, focus on replacing them with positive alternatives. For example, if you tend to procrastinate, replace that habit with focused work sessions or taking breaks to recharge. If you often reach for unhealthy snacks when stressed, replace that habit with drinking water, going for a short walk, or practicing mindfulness. Replacing bad habits with good ones is often more effective than simply trying to eliminate the negative behavior without offering a positive alternative. By substituting one behavior for another, you create a new habit loop that promotes success rather than hindering it. Build momentum with small wins. The power of small wins is crucial to habit formation. When you achieve small victories, they build your confidence and reinforce your commitment to the process. For example, if your goal is to get up earlier, start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier than usual. After a week or two, increase that time gradually until you reach your desired wake-up time. Celebrating small wins can have a profound impact on your motivation. It provides positive reinforcement, which is crucial for keeping the habit alive. Small victories, when recognized and celebrated, can snowball into bigger successes as your confidence and commitment grow. Overcoming common obstacles in habit building. As with any endeavor, building habits can come with challenges. You may encounter obstacles along the way that threaten to derail your progress. It's important to be aware of these potential challenges and have strategies in place to overcome them. Lack of motivation. Motivation tends to fluctuate, so relying on it alone will not ensure success. To overcome this, create systems that don't require motivation, just action. For example, laying out your workout clothes the night before ensures you don't have to rely on motivation in the morning. Setbacks. Everyone encounters setbacks, missed workouts, unhealthy meals, or procrastination. Rather than seeing setbacks as failures, use them as learning experiences. Adjust your plan and move forward with renewed commitment. Perfectionism. Many people quit their habits because they believe they have to do everything perfectly. The key is progress, not perfection. Don't let a small mistake derail you. Keep going and focus on the bigger picture. Time constraints. If you're struggling to find time for your habits, schedule them into your day. Treat your habits like appointments. Set aside dedicated time for them, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. Conclusion. Creating a life of success through habits. The right habits are the foundation of success. By starting small, staying consistent, and focusing on progress, you can build habits that will propel you toward your long-term goals. Habits don't require talent. They require discipline, patience, and consistency. By understanding the power of habits and taking intentional action, you can transform your life. Remember, success is not the result of big, dramatic efforts. It's the product of small, consistent actions taken every day. The habits you build today will shape the success you experience tomorrow. So, start small, stay consistent, and trust in the process. Throughout this audiobook, we've explored one central truth. Success is not defined by talent, but by the habits you cultivate and maintain. While talent can certainly give you an initial edge, it's the consistent actions you take every day that ultimately determine whether or not you reach your goals. Talent may get you started, but it's discipline, focus, and perseverance, all of which are shaped by your habits, that will carry you through to long-term success. The myth of talent has caused many to feel discouraged, thinking that if they're not born with a specific ability, they'll never achieve the success they desire. But the truth is, success is accessible to anyone who is willing to put in the work. It's the small, daily actions that compound over time, leading to breakthroughs and lasting change. Every single day is an opportunity to make progress, no matter how small the steps may seem. We've discussed how habits form the foundation of success in every aspect of life, whether it's your health, career, relationships, or personal growth. The right habits, those aligned with your goals and values, are what make success not just possible, but sustainable. Talent may allow someone to get a quick start, but it's habitual actions over time that allow them to sustain and build on that success. Think about the habits you've already built in your life. Some may serve you well, like the habit of brushing your teeth every day or having a routine for work. Others, however, may be holding you back, whether it's procrastination, unhealthy eating, or negative self-talk. The good news is, you have the power to change these habits. By intentionally replacing unproductive behaviors with more positive, success-oriented habits, you can transform your life. Consistency is the key to unlocking your potential. It's easy to become excited about a new goal or habit and start strong, but the real challenge comes in maintaining that momentum over time. Success is not built on moments of brilliance. It's built on the quiet persistence of doing what needs to be done day after day. The beauty of consistency is that it creates its own momentum. The more you commit to your goals, the easier it becomes to continue, and the more results you'll see. Ultimately, success is not about waiting for the right opportunity or for talent to shine through. It's about building a system of habits that help you achieve what you desire. When you make habits a priority, when you make them your focus, you set yourself up for success. Talent alone won't carry you through the hard times, but a strong, disciplined habit system will. So, what's the takeaway? Start now. Focus on the small actions that can lead to big changes. Whether it's committing to exercise every day, reading a few pages of a book, or dedicating time to learning new skills, it's the daily habits that will create your path to success. Be patient, be consistent, and most importantly, trust the process. You don't need to wait for talent or luck to strike. Success is built on habits, not talent. The power to shape your future lies within the daily actions you choose to take. With the right habits, there's no limit to what you can achieve.